to the Crazy Agent Dinner Party.
Nobody helps you. Just
Part group therapy, part inspiration, entirely for real estate agents to dish on this crazy business we're in.
Yeah, actually. my mom would be like, Amanda, I cannot.
Come on in, have a seat at our table. And remember, real estate is crazy, and you don't have to be. Welcome to the Crazy Agent Dinner Party, where we dish on this crazy industry known as real estate. Here are your hostesses with the mostesses, a combined 40 plus years in real estate, Coach Konversion Kourtney, and the real estate mom you never knew you needed, Amanda, the marketing mama. So on today's menu, we are dishing up real estate rescue. What happens when a real estate agent is on the brink of quitting?
Thank you, Jenny, our very wonderful and trusted sidekick. You know, agents, we get it. You've got a lot on your plate, which is why every week we want to gather together and have part group therapy, part inspiration, but all of this entirely for you, real estate agents. So hopefully that we can all sell more real estate and have way more fun.
Way more fun.
Way more fun. So for starters, Kourtney, have you ever wanted to quit real estate?
I have been doing this for 24 years, and absolutely I wanted to quit real estate.
Have you ever quit?
I have quit real estate.
Oh,
yeah.
oh.
It was after the crash back in 2008, and did a lot of short sales.
I will tell you what, that sucked. That was some sort of what lesson were we punished from the gods on that one? It was really, you worked 3 times as hard for a third of the money. But I did learn a lot through that. I mean, honestly, I feel like that's where I really sharpened my tools.
I feel like what I learned from that is pivot, right? We're always pivoting in real estate. And for me, when I did quit real estate, selling real estate, I ended up starting my own business called Open House with Style. And I would go into $1 million plus homes and I'd coordinate it and I'd get small businesses to come in and it'd just be like a craft fair in $1 million home with the cool thing is because at that time it was the small businesses had to market to their database. The Realtors had to market to their database. Open House with Style had to market to our database. And so it was getting the word out there to everybody's database on this open house. And it was really just a big event in a house. And
well, that's kind of fun.
Yeah. So the biggest lesson that I learned was pivoting. And constantly we have to pivot within real estate.
Well, otherwise you do want to quit because you have to realize something, you're hitting a wall over and over and over again. So what have you heard or seen or done or you have a weekly group coaching session, and so you work with a lot of the same agents over and over again. What is that kind of reasoning usually that they want to quit or that they're telling you that it's not working for them? Because honestly, that quitting thing, the giving up thing, it's a little bit like imposter syndrome, but it's almost, I don't want to say whining, but it's almost like not taking accountability. Really. And so when you are talking to your agents and you hear this, because I have heard it from time to time, but most of the time I'm like, you don't want to quit. You just don't want to do what you need to do.
I hear all the time, it's like, Kourtney, just tell me what I need to do. Tell me what I need to do, Kourtney. And I'll tell them and they'll be like, anything but that.
I know. Well, you know what it is? It's the asshole period. So, and I don't mean to be disrespectful at all. I am a real estate agent. I love real estate agents. Been working with them for 20 years. They don't want to be told what to do until they want to be told what to do. But until that point, they are in the straight up Jurassic asshole period of their lives where they're going to ask the same questions and they're going to nod their heads. They might even take a note and then write it down, but you'll follow up with them and they'll be like, no, I did not reach out to my sphere of influence. I did not wear my name tag. I did not, circle back and have a concerted, structured effort on how I'm prospecting and how I'm following up. And I'm not writing, note cards. I'm not trying to be of helpful service. I'm not digging in and learning the market and knowing the market, I'm like, what are you doing then? I'm like, you're laying on your couch and you're eating chips. Yes, exactly. So
and I think it's important too, just there's not a one fit meets all, right? So if somebody doesn't like doing open houses, there's ample opportunities and it's to figure out, okay, what are you passionate about?
Right.
Now I'll get the call so I don't like cold calling. Okay, have you tried cold? Have you done it? Have you cold called?
Right.
No, I know I just don't like it. And I'm like, well, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then let's figure out if you like it or if you don't, because there's ample opportunities to generate business.
Right.
What do you like doing versus what do you not like doing?
Well, even I would say calling people is honestly one of the things that I feel like most agents are like, I will text till the day I die, but I don't want to pick up the phone and make a connection. But I'm going to guess effectively you can text and still acquire business. That's how Benjamin, who sold me my Maserati, I'm like, do not ever call me. We will only be texting. But very few and far between do you get that person that's going to like trust you with like the largest investment of their life based on just a text relationship, right? You're not like catfishing somebody into buying a house, right?
Well, and I think too with text messaging, it's never about how the person's sending it. It's always about how the person who gets it perceives it.
Absolutely.
And so it never, if I send out a text and I meant for it to be something, it will never. I mean, even in communication, we get that wrong sometimes, right? So
all the time. Yeah.
All the time. So even
like,
in a text message.
What? Like, what do they mean? And meanwhile, on the other end, they're like, oh, okay, like, see you soon. Da, 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 da. Where we had, I mean, do you remember this, Jenny? The other day, like, one of our agents was like, listen, she had a rock and hard place situation. She had, I would say, not even beer budget. It was like root beer budget and champagne taste. I mean, it was a hard ask. It was a very, very low dollar amount. And she was obviously very disappointed at what was available in the market. And so I'm like, well, did you call her and like have a conversation? Because sometimes it's just a matter of like, what can we slide around and make a concession for in order to make that make sense? Like, have we talked to the lender? There's solutions that maybe we could get to if we actually picked up the phone and talked about the process of being a trusted real estate advisor. And I swear, like, everything but that. She's like, no. And what do we hear? This bitch. And I'm like thinking, no, like, call her. I don't think you're taking that the right way, right? Like,
it's always about the person,
right?
I said last time, it's never about us. It's always about them. In text messaging, it's always about the person on the other end, right? And it's for us too. Like, then she gets a response back, and then it's whatever's going on internally on how she perceives that text message,
right? And I think I pointed out at the time, I'm like, so what does she do for a living? And I think she was a nurse or something. I'm like, and so she's probably at work right now. Like, she's probably working. You know, you're working, which is your job to do real estate, but maybe now's not the time to have the conversation. Don't take everything so personally or whatever. She didn't want to quit real estate, but she wanted to fire that client. And I think that's just, there's a time and a place to fire a client, but there's not a time and a place to like not try and make the connection, make the communication. So when one of your agents that you mentor is like, I want to get out. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. What am I doing to myself? This is crazy. Why do I subject myself to this? Let's dig into the meat and potatoes. Like, what is your...
digging in, right? Yeah. It's about digging in. So I do have an agent who last November wanted to get out of real estate.
Why?
And she just wasn't making any money. Every deal was just going crazy on her. And she really wanted to get out of real estate. And so I don't mean to interrupt you, but... when I hear, oh, it's a crazy deal, it's a crazy seller, it's a crazy buyer, to me, that is like ding, 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 ding. Not that you failed, that's not like the right word to say, but essentially there was something that the professional could have done to prevent the crazy. You can reel in your crazy a little bit with preparation, right? Yeah. With systems that I've talked about before. Yeah. So, she was basically working and not getting a paycheck for it, which can happen in real estate, obviously. Yeah. So, what was your advice to her? Yeah, and so we dug deeper onto why she is in real estate and why she loves real estate and the clients that she's been attracting so far in real estate.
Oh, was this the trailer girl?
So that's huge, right? Yeah. Like, because, do you say trailer girl? So I want to explain that.
I grew up in a trailer, so that's, just throw that out there. Like, that is true, actually.
A lot of what she was attracting was low dollar amounts, right? And so, like, every deal was a difficult deal. And having that time and time and time again, it gets... it gets draining on a realtor.
Well, because there's so many factors that go into it, like financing a low end, manufactured home. You're already going to have like a lot of chips stacked against you. So I think that's really, again, about preparing yourself for what you're literally jumping into and really understanding the nature of the beast. And that way you don't take it so personally when, like, Joe Schmo is over there like closing your standard single family at, $400K, like, cake, and you're like, I have clawed my way through every manufactured home community in all of the greater Denver area, which is basically what was happening, right?
It was.
Okay, so then how did you guys pivot? How did you pivot?
It's about pivoting, right? So then it's like, why do you want to be in real estate? Okay, so now we get where you're coming from, why you don't want to be in real estate. Why do you want to be in real estate? And I believe it's about asking questions, lots and lots of questions, because I believe that for me, I love real estate because it builds wealth in any kind of dynamic within real estate. However, that's my belief, right? So it's going back to the agent and what is your belief? What is your belief about yourself? What is your belief about real estate? What is your belief about being a realtor? And by digging deeper, we were able to uncover some things that were holding her back to be able to attract the people that she needed to attract.
Right. So to that point, I have an awesome agent who did very well. Same kind of thing where she's like, wow, I love the industry, but I really like the emotional part of the agent side, of the sales side, because that's really, honestly, you are in the thick of it with your customer. You're there with all of the emotional things. They basically unload on you all the time, and a lot of the information that they are seeking, you are waiting for from other people, and so you're almost like stepping on landmines like all day long, like very gingerly. You're collecting data, you're keeping everybody calm and cool, but really it's your due diligence for getting information and then conveying it in a way that helps them make an educated choice. That's a difficult task, especially if you're dealing with somebody who is a little cuckoo bananas, right? Which can happen. And so, because, right, the number one variable is people, and people are all a little crazy. So her pivot was to go in a different direction in the real estate industry and not do the sales part anymore, but rather do some of the back end things. And I think that's kind of like a cool option if you really do love this industry, to really think about the right seat for your butt, I should say, right? Right butts, right seats, I always say.
Right seats,
Because really, like, how defeating is it if you, for instance, I had another agent who, like, she had bought into this, like, another, like, internet coach who's really, really great and has a really good tool that he uses, and it's an awesome way of, he did very well with it, and I've seen lots of agents do very well. It's like a FSBO boot camp type of thing, and she just did not have that, like, personality to, like, be knocking on doors and do that. It's a different personality. It doesn't mean she's a bad agent. That means that she's just got a different personality. She's more geared toward maybe, referral based or sphere of influence based or something like that. Not like knocking on doors, which is hard. You love doing that kind of stuff, but not everybody feels as comfortable. But she was basically like overexerting and put a solid like 8 months into it. She had spent all this money. Like, her husband was like barking at her that she's spent all this money, she's always gone, she's not winning, which is, by the way, when you're in supporting a real estate professional, if they are not necessarily closing a deal a day, which is very rare that happens, like, I think part of it is understanding that their process as an entrepreneur isn't like out the gate, like they're instantly wealthy. It takes a long time to build business. And so you should have a game plan for how to support your real estate professionals in your life, right? Because that's what they really need. Yeah. They're already telling themselves every day that they're not good at what they do. So you don't need to do that as well. This is my cat, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. So in any event, so she was like really beating herself up for this. And I'm like, you know what? Like, you suffered enough. Like, this isn't the right seat for your butt, right? Yeah. And so she really, like, she was like, all right, I just need to let it go. I gave it a good college try. I'm gonna focus on what I really feel comfortable doing. And she got really involved with asking for business from her sphere of influence. She's like, I didn't want to bother them. I'm like, you're not bothering them. You have something that they need. If they want to buy or sell, they should be working with you. They already like you, know you, trust you. You're doing them a great service, and you're going to work harder for them than anyone else because you're going to see them at church every Sunday or, at the grocery store or whatnot, right? So to me, it's always like really digging into like, maybe this is just not the right seat for your cute little butt. Don't give up. I love this business. Like, I think it's the best industry ever, and I think it's so much fun. And like you said, when you can help somebody leverage equity to build their wealth, it is awesome.
It is awesome.
It really is. Like, you're like, wow, I really help people.
And to encourage agents, right, to that's what I do on Fridays, is to find your flow. What does your flow look like? What does my flow look like? And our bodies, they know what our flow looks like. And so when people get frustrated when
I don't have a flow. I'm like, I'm a robot. I guess.
Stopped up. The flow has stopped.
I mean, come on.
when people get frustrated, they're gonna create that, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna continue to create
Yeah.
that. So it was all about acknowledging it and then being able to make a shift and then constantly acknowledging it and shifting and knowledge shift, right? And constantly doing that. So now she has had the best first quarter of her entire career because she got focused. She figured out what she wanted, what she didn't want.
Right.
And she got focused and she's making it happen.
Right. And I think I remember I was on one of your calls with and she was in there and you guys were talking, this is a while ago, but how she felt badly because she wanted to help everyone. And I think that makes sense, but you also have to, one solution that I definitely follow and I recommend is to have kind of like a baseline bottom line for you, like you do with your buyers and sellers, right? You kind of know what their bottom line is. Like that's your negotiation point. You're not going to let the cat out of the bag, but for you to be involved in a transaction, like for me, if it ain't worth the squeeze, then I'm going to get new fruit, right? Like, so I think understanding like, no, it doesn't make any sense for you to drive, an hour and a half for whatever, tiny little dollar amount that's not going to even pay for the gas to get there. So just little nugget to think about or whatnot.
And so with this, like digging in deep, right, and figuring out their flow, what tools do you suggest agents use to figure that out, right?
So I 100% believe in not only a full business plan, like a strategic business plan based off of your gross commission earned that you need to make to pay your bills. That's number one. I mean, all the hippy dippy, no offense, but like all the great stuff that I really do lean on you for, like your manifestation mama. I do think that's super duper important for success, but it's also like how much money
you have to put in the work, right? Like you can't just be like, oh, please,
right?
Please,
like wishing I'm going to manifest it, but also wishing does not
hope dope. I call it smoking hope dope.
Yes, no smoking hope dope. Actually getting in there and working and doing it, but like really having this is the dollar amount that I need to make. And so I think that one-page business plan is a great way to start because it will literally tell you, how many calls you need to make to get to that commission amount. I love doing this with agents, and I will tell you, like, I've done it with well over 100 agents, and every time they are shocked by, like, it's just a numbers game. And that's a really great thing about real estate in general, and really understand that it's data and numbers and just keep on doing the things.
Well, and I love that the plan, right? And then you can, if somebody doesn't make it, then you can go back to the plan.
What did you do the things on the plan?
Have you been doing that?
Like, did you call them? No. Did you show up? No. Did you wear your name tag? No. Did you write no. What did you do then? Like, always, that's literally the conversation I have all the time, which obviously doesn't happen very often, but when it does, then I'm like, well, maybe this isn't the business for you.
I was just going to say that. Sometimes it's not, right? Like, when I was negotiating short sales, spending hours and hours on the phone with banks, then I'd hire a short sale negotiator. And then even at that, it was still like, this isn't right for me right now.
Yeah.
And so that's when I pivot. So like maybe, and with your agent too, like maybe it's not the right thing.
Yeah.
And pivot, and what does that look like?
Yeah.
And I believe, I say hard, although it can be very easy, making that decision because most agents pour their life and soul into it and fight, and that takes a lot, and then they feel like it's quitting.
Yeah, they feel like a failure or whatnot.
It's not quitting, it's pivoting.
Yeah, it's realizing that you're not at the door-to-door knocker. I actually sold vacuums door to door in college. Can you imagine? I'm like 5'1". Can you imagine me lugging around like a
Kirby vacuum?
No, it was it might have been Kirby. It was, I don't know. It was big as I was.
Like the teachers and people who sold door-to-door vacuum cleaners are the best realtor.
Those and waiters and bartenders, which is, again, I mean, honestly, I think anybody, if you want to be in real estate, there's definitely, right, there's not one right way to do real estate. There's a million wrong ways, but there's definitely not one right way to do real estate. But I would say if it's not working for you, if you're constantly hitting this block where you want to quit, I'll tell you when you want to quit. Let's talk about that day where you have somebody that you're working with and maybe everything has gone wrong. Maybe the house has everything wrong with it, which is obviously completely 1,000% out of your control. So then you jump that hurdle like a professional. You're like, I got this. We've got 3 quotes for everything. Da 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 da. You're even able to negotiate things. Then you get the appraisal back, and it is below what you've written the contract for. So then obviously your buyer is thinking that you're a ding dong, when in reality, like, it has a lot of times it doesn't have a lot to do with you. It just happened to be a lemon house, and it just, the appraiser came back, and even though you ran comps, they didn't use your comps. There's always something sometimes where you get a disgruntled borrower that makes you feel as though you didn't do enough. Those are the days that I really do feel for agents, because sometimes you're just in the crossfires of like very bad circumstances. Don't you agree?
I do, and I believe that it's the confidence, right? Doing the things on a daily basis, so that when that does come up, then you have the confidence to be able to approach it, attack it, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Whatever I need to do, right?
Right. Well, and because sometimes people just want to be heard and vent, and they don't really think about like how it is getting absorbed. And so what do you always say? It's not about you, it's about them. Don't let those be the days that define you. Like, how about the days that your kids are acting up, right? That's not the day that defines me as a mom, even though it does crush me.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Right. Like,
Absolutely,
I know,
it doesn't.
like, I'm a great mom because I have great kids.
Tell me, like, so we've talked a little bit about like bar rescue. That's the real estate rescue, and so,
Which is like literally my favorite thing to do. I'm like, let's dig into your business and dive
let's
in.
figure this out.
Yeah,
right?
like,
So-
what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What has been working? What's not working? And what does the data say? Because it's math, y'all, not magic. So what does the data say?
Wait, how would you like the icing on the cake? What would you say for the icing on the cake?
The takeaway for, I think, again, let's our little to-go box should be, our virtual to-go box should be the Smart Agent business plan. I think it really does boil down to that. It's really assessing where you've been so that you can really know where you're going. And then it's really taking a minute to kind of outline your skill sets, what you've got running in your favor, and then doing the math to make it make sense for you.
And taking action, right?
Well,
because there's
obviously,
so many things that I'm even guilty of, right? Like, we buy so many things, or we get free things, and so it's about taking action on that, because I could have the sheet there, look at the sheet, and not take action, and that's not going to do me any good.
Well, 100%. I do think that if you do the one-page business plan, it's just like, again, it's just numbers. Measuring data is how you know whether or not it's working. But have that action item like in your frame of reference. Like, it should be almost like a vision board of sorts, because it's literally your goal. It's got to be there. It can't just be this like lofty aspiration. It has to be actual, factual. This is what I need to make. This is how I need to get there. And I am not done with this day until X, Y, and Z happen. So one of the things that is in the Smart Agent business plan is something called Real Job Rules. When you are a real estate agent, this inevitably always happens. The minute you get licensed, everybody thinks that you are independently wealthy, right? They're like, oh yeah, can you help me move my couch? Oh, can you pick the kids up early? Can you? No, dude, I literally have to work. So I remember being
like a business.
Right. I remember being like super pregnant with Tyson, who's 16 now. This was like back in 2007, and I had been in real estate several years by then, and I had just like started my big team. I had 2 more agents, and I was really starting to feel like the heat of, crap, I'm literally going to have to go to maternity leave, and I still got to make it rain, and da-da-da-da-da. But my mom had become so accustomed to talking to me because I was pregnant that she got offended one day when I was like, hey, I got to work. Like, I can't do this right now. And I didn't mean, when you're pregnant, you're crazy, by the way. But I didn't mean to offend her. But I really, when I put it into the perspective of, my mom's a cardiac intensive care nurse, and I said, Mom, what if I called you while a patient was coding on the table? And she's like, well, I wouldn't be able to talk to you. I'm like, well, I don't know if you've seen my robustness, but a patient is on the table here, okay? They're literally about to come out of the table. And I have lives are on the line. Like, I have this team. I have these 3 women, 1 man, and my assistant, who are literally, those are my people. They believe in me. They're my team, let alone all these customers and clients that we're working with. I can't just like bail out on them. Like, I have to focus on making this a real job. Yeah. So you have to define real job rules for yourself as an entrepreneur, because you are the business.
Absolutely. And you're a boss.
Right? You are the boss. You are the business. You are you are it.
We have to motivate ourselves. We have to get up. We've got to make decisions. We got to take action.
100%.
And so one of the things that I say too is like, you know, the saying, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in that.
Really?
I believe in knowledge when applied is power.
Okay.
Because knowledge just sitting there is not powerful. When applied, it's powerful.
That's true. That's actually very accurate. Like book smart versus street smart type of thing. But honestly, it's really is saying, hey, you know what? No matter what, I'm going to win. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit. Or if I'm going to go in a different direction, I'm going to do it with intention. And that's not going to be a failure. That's going to be a pivot. Yeah. All I can think of is friends. Pivot. And like every time that you say that. So would you like to do our little last bite today?
Hi. So if you are on the brink of quitting real estate.
Right.
And a lot of people are right now. And so if you are on the brink of quitting real estate, I encourage you to dig deeper, realize, and even jot down notes. Why did you get into real estate? And why do you feel like quitting? And look at those and really dig deep on what systems you have, what you've done, and if you want to stay in it. And if you want to stay in it, I encourage you to go all in and do the things that need to be done.
Yeah.
And don't forget, if you're hungry for more, we have, as always, every week, our weekly virtual to-go box. So don't forget to click on the link, and then you can check out the one-page business plan.
Very cool. You guys remember, real estate, it's crazy.
And we don't have to be.